Howdy, Connection Group leaders. Happy Thursday. I hope you're doing great. Before we jump into our lesson stuff, I wanted to remind you about something. Hopefully this is a reminder, not the first time you've heard this. I know we've talked about this a few times, at least here, but nonetheless, here we go. Sunday the 15th is what we're calling Parent Sunday, and that's going to mean a handful of things. What it means for you and your connection groups is this. Those of you that are teaching connection groups that have a lot of parents in them, so that's especially those of you that teach the 9:30 hour, we are asking that all those connection groups meet together down in the fellowship hall. We're going to be watching a video from our special guest speaker that'll be sharing in the worship services, Dr. Richard Ross, who is absolutely incredible. We're going to be watching a video from him and having some roundtable discussions about what it means to raise kids to love and honor and follow Jesus with all their hearts. And then in both worship services at 9:30 and 11, Dr. Ross is going to be in the worship service sharing some more on that fact live and in the room. And then finally at 12 o'clock, after the second service is over, those of you that have 5th graders through 12th graders, we've got a special lunch where we're inviting you and your kids to come and not only hear from Dr. Ross, but it's not going to be a monologue. He's actually walking us through some exercises that we'll be doing with our kids in the room, talking a lot about heart connections and having some really, really sweet conversations with your kids. It's going to be a phenomenal Sunday, so we want you to be a part. Those of you coming to lunch, please, please, please register at lakechurch.news. Click on the Kids tab, and you'll find that way to register. Now, those of you that don't have a bunch of parents in your classes, let me just say, you are more than welcome to come and join us down in the fellowship hall. In fact, I would really, really appreciate, especially those of you who are seasoned parents, maybe even seasoned grandparents. Man, y'all have got the goods. You know what wisdom and what works. We want you to share that with us. So come join those roundtable conversations. We really would love that. But again, that'll be at 9:30 and 11 o'clock hour down in the fellowship hall. Again, simultaneously during the worship services, Dr. Ross will be sharing in the room. It's going to be a cool Sunday. And then finally, men, don't forget the night before on the 14th. That's the Men's Shift Conference. Love for you to come and be a part of that. Love for you to come and bring your kids to that too. You can register for that at lakechurch.news under the Men's tab. Go check that out. Now, let's talk about Ecclesiastes. This really is a really, really fascinating book. We talked a little bit last week, like it's kind of Eeyore-ish, right? Like a lot of it feels just really, really sad. It was fun watching some of our students that have never really studied Ecclesiastes before kind of work through it, and even the questions I've gotten this week have been really, really cool. But I love the way this particular lesson ends because it uses the phrase that I think is so, so good. God will have the last word. Now, when you hear that phrase, it'd be really, really easy to kind of go, that's sort of scary, right? And it can be scary if you don't have the hope that we have in Jesus, right? If we have the hope that we have in Jesus, God having the last word is fantastic because that means that all the other nonsense that we've been hearing from all of the voices that are so condemning, especially from the enemy, none of those voices matter. What matters is God has the last word. But on the flip side, since we know that God has the last word, that means that we need to take judgment very, very seriously. I'm not sure how often we really talk about that, but judgment really is real. We really are going to stand before God at the end of our lives and have to give an account. And if our hope isn't pent fully on the work of Jesus, that's going to be a really, really bad day. But watch this, as we talk about your lesson this week, and I hope you'll do this, we've got to make clear, especially to our kids and our students, but really even, I would say parents of kids and students, but really even adults. Like there's this terrible false dichotomy that says this: you've either got to honor God or have a bunch of fun. And there's no in between. And all of you are smart enough to know that that's not true. But again, certainly kids and students in particular, they kind of feel like that's the choice. I can either do what's right or I can have fun, and there's nothing in between. So let's make it abundantly clear to them that actually, no, what is fun is to see the world the way that God sees it, and for us to enjoy the things that God has given us in the way that He wants us to enjoy them. And the fact that all these good things that God has given us, they're designed for us not to take full joy in them, but for us to take full joy in Him giving us those things. And when we abuse them, it's going to end poorly. And when we abuse them, again, because God's going to have the last word in our lives, it's not going to end well for us. But it really is a false dichotomy to say I can either have fun or I can honor God. There is no in between. Life is not either YOLO or no. If you're unfamiliar with the phrase YOLO, it stands for you only live once, right? The way it works, particularly teenagers, not as much as now as they used to, but they would yell YOLO and then they would do something incredibly stupid because, you only live once, so you might as well, right? But on the flip side, there's also a whole bunch of no, you can't do that. No, you can't touch that. No, you can't think that. No, can't listen to that or watch that or whatever, right? I experienced a lot of that growing up. And by the way, that's not necessarily a problem. Parents are supposed to say no a lot, and probably we should say more than what we do now. But we don't want to live in the extremes. Both of those types of living is really, really stupid because God did give us a world to enjoy. And yes, we only live once, but the Lord doesn't want us to be stupid and just live recklessly. He wants us to walk in the joy and the freedom of this beautiful life and world that He's given us, ultimately knowing He's the one who gave it to us. And so our job is to honor Him the way that Ecclesiastes lands is so good. Our job is to walk with Him, honor Him, and to know at the end of our lives, He's going to have the last word, and we can take great joy in that. So have fun with these conversations. Guys, we love you. We'll see you soon.